Namaste, guys. ChristianRLong, life enhancement consultant, giving you a big and beautiful shout out on this Thursday evening here in Bovina, New York. Somebody keeps messaging me while I'm trying to do the stream for you guys. Welcome. Another beautiful day here in Bovina. We got 2 more beautiful days as I see it on the forecast. Shannon, Namaste, where it's going to be super sunny today and tomorrow. So, wait a minute. Today's Friday, right? Is today Friday?
Yep.
It is Friday. Man, time flies by. Kenny, Namaste. Welcome. So, it's going to be beautiful weather today, beautiful weather tomorrow, and then it's kind of hit or miss over the next 7 days of the retreat that we're doing here. Clara, Namaste. So, have you ever heard the expression, if somebody's not getting along with you, or you're not getting along with them, or there's just disharmony, they say, go jump in a lake. Go jump in a lake. I mean, I don't think people have said that expression regularly for the past 50 years, but as I was growing up, I remember people saying that. But here in Bovina at the MCKS or Hatha Yoga Ashram, having somebody tell you, go jump in the lake, or more accurately, go jump in the pond, is actually them caring for you, because the pond here has been blessed. So what does that mean? So you've heard the expression, baptism by water, right? And also baptism by fire. So to be specific, baptism by water is when you consecrate water and you submerge your body in it, whether it's your hand, whether it's your entire body. Part of you, your energy, is being deeply and profoundly cleansed because of the impregnated spiritual energy in the water. So we have a pretty big pond here. In fact, we actually have 2 ponds here in Bovina that are on the property. One pond, I can't actually go and show you the pond because then we'll lose internet reception. But one of the ponds was naturally made. It's been here since the Pranic Healing Center has owned the property. Megan, Namaste, and it's about 12 to 13 feet deep. I can't touch it. I can't touch the bottom without submerging my body all the way underneath. And you see the cute little frogs, and there's lotus flowers, and there's a lot of strong energy. But one of the masters never liked having her feet feel all the mud and the little critty crawlers that are in the natural pond. So she just dug a pond next to the other pond, a man-made pond, and it's about 5 feet deep. It's got the beautiful what's the word I'm looking for? It's got like the lining on the outer rim. It's got rocks in it and all this other stuff. So it's not so natural, right? But it's still water. It can still be blessed. It can still be consecrated. So over the past several days, almost pretty much every single day that we've been here, we've had the opportunity to do purification by water, which is a practice that is done in many spiritual schools and religions, and pranic healing has its own take. Pranic healing and Hatha Yoga has its own take on the technique. And so it typically takes about 25 to 30 minutes to do the practice. One of the masters will lead the practice of purifying, connecting to God, and purifying the mental body, the emotional body, the etheric body, and even on some level the physical body. We haven't had any hot water here in the ashram for about 5 days, so it might be the only shower that people have been getting. Adriana, Namaste. So, but at the end of that water purification, you feel super light. And for those people who can see, or those people who can feel subtle energies, a person's aura becomes super bright. Super bright. And even though there are times that the water in the pond is cold and you're like doing your prayers and you're kind of like shivering and shaking, it's a great opportunity to practice another thing that Grandmaster Chogo Koksui taught many years ago, called the I Am the Soul affirmation. The I Am the Soul affirmation, which is the technique to identify with what you are and to disidentify or disassociate with what you are not. You're not the body, you're not the emotions, you're not the thoughts, you're not the mind, but you're the soul, right? So recognizing that you're the soul, when you're shivering and you're connecting upwards, it's empowering you, and then you'll start to notice that you stop shaking. I remember an exercise that one of the masters did many years ago when I was attending a 9-day retreat. And it was, actually I take that back, it wasn't the 9-day retreat, it was a higher level class. It might have been Kriya Shakti, the class on materialization of your needs, wants, and desires. Because it was at the end of October. So if you can imagine that Catskills in upstate New York at the end of October, what kind of temperature do you think it is? Hot or super cold? Super cold, right? So the master says, we need a volunteer. And me being the person who's always ready, willing, and able to raise his hand for some kind of experiment to validate the teachings of our teacher, I raised my hand and I said, I'll be willing to be that guinea pig. I'll be willing to do the experiment. He said, okay, take your shirt and shorts off, or pants off, or whatever I had on, like sweatpants or khakis or whatever. And I was like, okay. And so I was just in my underwear, and I went outside the ashram doors, and there's a bunch of bricks on the outside. And he said, okay, lay down. And I could still hear him outside over the loudspeaker, Jose, Atma Namaste. And he says, I want you to practice the I am the soul affirmation. Practice the I am the soul affirmation. Practice the I am the soul affirmation. And he says, come on, start talking. Right? So I'm practicing the affirmation while I'm laying there on freezing cold bricks in only my underwear. And after about a minute of saying it, something very interesting started to happen. My body being cold, the cold wind going over me, the cold brick below me, something started to happen where I was no longer feeling the sensations of cold. And I wasn't feeling the sensation of hot either. I was in this like really sweet spot of neutrality, neither hot nor cold, and I just kept doing the affirmation. And he was asking, what are you noticing? What are you noticing? What are you noticing? But then as soon as I would take my awareness off of the soul, as soon as I would take my awareness off of the affirmation, what happened? I started feeling the cold temperature again, the cold wind, the cold... There's Master Glenn, ironically enough, talking about him right now. So I was feeling the cold of everything as soon as I took my attention off the soul, as soon as I took my attention off the affirmation. So what's the lesson? The lesson is to consistently and persistently stay connected to God under any and all circumstances, no matter what's happening in your life. Now, is that an easy thing to do? No. It requires a tremendous amount of awareness, practice, patience, tolerance, understanding. I'll tell him when he comes back. I think he went somewhere. And it's interesting because right in front of me, there's a quote on the wall by Grandmaster Choa that says, the more you develop your virtues, the stronger your connection to God will become. So, the virtues, let's see. What was the virtue I was practicing that allowed me to connect to the higher soul? I was using right speech. So as I was saying, I am the soul, I'm not the body, I'm not the emotions, I'm not the thoughts, as I was practicing that, I was using my speech, my language to connect myself to the higher soul, right? So the virtue would be accurate perception and correct expression. Please tell Master Glenn I said namaste and I love you. Aw, that's nice. I will let him know. So that's really interesting when you think about it, that you can use your language, Sudhir, Atma Namaste, your language. Kenny says hi, Master Glenn. And Megan. So when you practice using your language and have right speech, which means you have to have right thoughts, because you can't have right speech without right thoughts.
Atma Namaste, Christian.
Quite the blessing. So by having right viewpoint, you can have right thoughts, which allows you to have right speech, right actions, right livelihood, right practice, right oneness, right? Right. But if you have wrong viewpoint, everything else is inaccurate. Everything else will be diluted and distorted. So, right viewpoint, right thoughts, right speech. And so Master Choa has done the heavy upfront lifting of right viewpoint and right thoughts and given us an affirmation like the I am the soul affirmation, or the prosperity meditation, or the different sutras in the Golden Lotus Sutra books, right? Giving us the ability to follow simple instructions. We have the right viewpoint, we have the right thoughts, and now we can practice speech. So looking at your speech, looking what you're saying. So what do I mean by that? So as soon as you identify with your physical body, as soon as you identify with your emotional body, or as soon as you identify with your mental body, meaning your thoughts and your feelings and your physical body, your connection to the higher soul shrinks. So in order to stay connected to God, we have to have a big connection that stays permanent. And we develop that permanency by practicing the virtues consistently and persistently, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, decade after decade, lifetime after lifetime. It is not something we master in 1 or 2 weeks, which goes back to practicing patience, practicing the virtue of constancy, of aim and effort, and non-laziness, right? Very, very, very important. So, when you say, I'm hungry, you're identifying yourself with your physical body. You're identifying yourself with your physical hunger. Is that true? Are you hungry, or is the body hungry? The body's hungry, right? You can say, I'm angry, or I can say, my emotions are angry. By identifying with my anger, as I am that, it shrinks my connection. But having the disassociation and disidentification of the emotion of anger, I'm still connected, right? When people are depressed, they believe they are that. And that's why it's very hard for them to unstick themselves from that depression. Does that make sense? So very, very, very important. If you have thoughts, chaotic thoughts going on in your mind, and you identify of, I'm confused, I'm lost. Even saying it, I don't like saying it. When you say I'm confused or I'm lost, you are identifying your soul with the mental body of the thoughts, of confusion, of being lost, of being disorientated, right? When you want to keep staying connected, I'm the soul, I'm the soul, I'm the soul, I'm the soul, which expands that connection and disintegrates and removes any and all things that are not of that quality. So, is anger a quality of the soul? No. Is confusion a quality of the soul? No. Is hunger a quality of the soul? No. These are all products that the soul has used to create it in the physical body, the emotional body, and the mental body. But it is still not the soul. If you use the example of a carpenter builds a bed, a carpenter builds a set of stairs, a carpenter builds a chair. Is the carpenter the stairs, the bed, or the chair? No. The carpenter is still the carpenter. He doesn't become what he creates. Our soul creates thoughts, feelings, and actions, but it doesn't mean the soul is or are those thoughts, feelings, and actions. It's subtle, but it's very, very powerful once you get it. So that was my experience of laying on the cold brick many, many years ago, is I'm the soul, I'm not the body, I'm not the emotions, I'm not the thoughts, I'm not the cold. And then all of a sudden my body stopped shivering and just relaxed, became neutral. It didn't feel cold, it didn't feel hot, didn't really feel anything. That's super powerful. Think about how you could apply that in other areas of your life. When you're feeling stressed out, you can say, I'm stressed, or my emotions are feeling stress. My emotions are feeling irritability. My emotions are feeling fearful. My emotions are feeling sad. My emotions are feeling whatever. And what you're doing is you're acknowledging what you're feeling, but you don't become the thing that you're feeling. Why would the soul create confusion? To learn a lesson. To learn a lesson. So that's an excellent question. It's covered in more detail with one of the masters online. But in essence, any negative emotion that you're experiencing, a negative thing in your physical body, a negative emotion that you're feeling, or a negative thought that you're having, all of them, but primarily your emotions, your negative emotions, all of them are pointing you up, pointing you up, pointing you up, to go up. What do I mean by that? So, how many of us have had a desire in our lives that we believe if that desire is fulfilled, the fulfillment will be permanent, right? So you're making $50,000 a year now, and you want to make $100,000 a year now. So your desire is to go from $50,000 to $100,000 with the belief that once you're making $100,000 a year, you will be deeply and profoundly and forever fulfilled. Then you make the $100,000 a year and you realize not much has changed. Or you want to be in the perfect relationship. Meaning you're not fulfilled in your relationship, right? And so you seek a relationship with another person, believing that desire of being in the perfect relationship, once it's there, once it's fulfilled, it'll be the feeling of fulfillment will be permanent and will be profound, right? Natalia, namaste. But we realize with relationships, with our health, with our finances, with going on vacation, isn't it interesting? They did a study, I'm trying to remember where the study came from. They did a study that people are more fulfilled and more excited planning for a vacation and going to the vacation destination than they are actually doing the vacation. Think about that. It was actually in Darlene, namaste. It was a book I was reading called Atomic Habits. So we make the false assumption that by getting something in the external world is going to bring us lasting, permanent fulfillment, when that's not the truth. Harita, namaste. What is the truth? As we go through lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime of thinking and feeling that getting something in the external world is going to provide lasting fulfillment, and it doesn't, what it forces us to do on a soul level and on the incarnated soul level is to go up. Let's see. I think getting that brand new car is going to bring me fulfillment. Let me go within. Let me tap into the quality of fulfillment. What does that feel like? Let me connect to my higher self. And there you go. Within a matter of a few moments, you're able to generate and create the thing on will, on demand, that you think getting it externally will give you that. That's why your spiritual practice is essential. That's why connecting to God is essential. That's why recognizing that you are not the body, not the emotions, not the thoughts, not the mind, but the soul is essential. Because instead of chasing the Maya, instead of chasing an illusion of a bigger job, a better partner, a better car, a better house, a better this, a better that, a better this, better that, instead of going outward, which is temporary and not lasting, we go inward, which is permanent. Because the development that we create with our spiritual practice is permanent. When we leave our physical body, we take our virtues with us, we take our development with us, we take all the beautiful intangibles with us. We can't take our bank account, we can't take our partner, we can't take our car, we can't take our house, we can't take our family. Ted, namaste, we can't take any of those things, but what we can take are the virtues, are the qualities. Which actually is very interesting, but there was a movie we watched last night. It was our movie night here at the MCKS, our Hatha Yoga Ashram. And it's called Along with the Gods. It's a Korean movie with subtitles, but it's the story of a fireman, a Korean fireman who dies on the job, and then he has to go through 7 trials of hell to prove that he was a great person. And by proving that he's a great person, he ascends into heaven. If he's not able to prove, then he gets brought down to hell. And there's a lot of deep, rich spiritual teachings and insights within that movie, and I highly recommend watching it. I'm not a big subtitle person, but it was a really good movie. And if one of the masters recommends it, you can pretty much guarantee that it's gonna have an impact. And to be honest, don't tell anyone this, but almost throughout the entire movie, I was crying, like purging in a good way, because I was looking at who's called a paragon. A paragon means an example of excellence. A paragon means example of excellence. So this person, the firefighter, was seen as a paragon by certain beings and guardian angels within the movie, but then they kept questioning his character. And then, I don't want to ruin it, you can watch the movie. Along with the Gods, Harita. The name of the movie is Along with the Gods. So what was so beautiful was the recognition of what it truly takes to be a great teacher, what it truly takes to be a saint, what it truly takes to be a person of virtue. And it's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. But it goes back to awareness, understanding, self-sacrifice, service, humility. But I recommend watching the movie. You can get it on Amazon for $3. Yes, Along with the Gods. Correct. You can get it on Amazon for $3. It'll be well worth your time. The graphics are a little tiny itty-bitty cheesy, just a little bit. It's probably a lower budget film, but the lessons you get from the film are priceless. So highly recommend grabbing a rental of that and watching it. So, what other questions, comments, clarifications would you guys like? We talked about the pond, the 2 different ponds we have on the Bovina property for cleansing and purifying. We talked about the I am the soul affirmation and how important it is to identify with the soul and not identify with your physical body, with your emotional body, or your mental body. And it's a practice. It takes time. You're not going to master it overnight. We look at the people. We look at people who are excellent in some area of life, excellent in business, excellent in music, excellent in dance, excellent in education, politics, right? Comedy, entertainment, whatever it is. We look at them and we go, wow, like we're inspired, and sometimes we're in awe of that. But the thing is, we don't realize all the sacrifices that they had to do, not in just this lifetime, but previous incarnations, to be in the position that they're in, to have developed the skill set that they've developed. So, when is a good time to start practicing being a virtuous person? True, you should have done it 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago or lifetimes ago, but that's not what happened in some cases. So you start with where you are. Okay, my level of loving kindness and non-injury is at this level. And I want to, within the next year, I want to go from here to here. I want to be more loving in my thoughts. I want to be more loving in my words. I want to be more loving in my actions. And then you start with where you are. And then over time, you will start getting better and better and better at mastering loving kindness. It was interesting. One of the masters was sharing a story about a former student, or maybe still a current student. I don't know. I don't know who this person is. And this was many, many years ago, and they said that they had mastered loving kindness and non-injury. They'd mastered the virtue of loving kindness and non-injury, right? Which, that's a pretty bold statement to say that you've mastered loving kindness and non-injury. So all of your thoughts, all of your words, and all of your actions are in alignment with love, the divine aspect of the soul, divine love, right? And you don't create or cause any injury with your thoughts, your words, and your actions to yourself, to others, and all sentient beings. Think about that. That's a pretty tall order for somebody to make that claim. But in actuality, and 2 people said this, different times, different classes, but 2 people said this, and when it was examined further, it wasn't the loving kindness aspect that the persons have mastered, which is the yang side of the virtue, the doing. Loving kindness is doing, but what they actually did was maybe not mastered, but they developed to a high degree non-injury. So these people didn't criticize other people mentally, verbally, or in their actions. They didn't cause injury with their actions, which that's pretty impressive, right? The non-doing, the non-doing, the yin aspect. So the yang is the doing aspect, the yin is the non-doing aspect. It's Rocky, bringing the heat. Got a lot of visitors today. So, is this all making sense? Hopefully it's making sense. And feel free to put in any comments, questions, clarifications that you guys have. Oh, it's asking to trust. I trust you, computer. It's my computer. Why wouldn't I trust you? You like the T-shirt? What does it say? Volunteering is a big deal. It's a pickle. Volunteering is a big deal. And we have one more hour before we head back to class. So, again, jumping on real quick, want to send some light, love, and power to you guys from God, from the teacher, from all the healing angels and healing ministers that are here at the ashram right now. And keep the energy flowing. That's Lewis behind me. Keep the energy flowing. But it's a small group for the 21 days. Less than 20 people. And for the 9-day, with the parents, with their children, with everybody, we had about 100 people. So we went from 100 people, action, commotion everywhere, to 20 people. So it's a big difference. So Darlene's asking, how do you get rid of bad energy? That's a good question. There are actually many, many ways to get rid of bad energy. So you would have to identify what the energy is. So is the bad energy stress? Nina, namaste. Is it anxiety? Is it anger? Is it fear? Is it low self-esteem? So you'd have to identify what the energy is, right? So one would be identifying it. Then another way of getting rid of it is through awareness and understanding. So for instance, let's say the energy, Panagotius, good to have you back on. Let's say the energy is stress. So you're like, okay, I have a stress and I want to get rid of it. Well, how did I get that stress to begin with? Well, I've been working 85 hours a week at my job. Is that necessary? Could I work less hours? Yeah, I could probably work less hours. By working less hours, would that reduce my stress? Yes. See? So having understanding as to why you are where you are, you can reduce the stress. Another technique you can do is receive pranic healing, right? Receive energy healing from a practitioner like myself. There's practitioners all over the world. You can do it distantly. You can do it face-to-face. You can take a class yourself. In the very first weekend of taking the class, you'll learn how to heal yourself of stress and other energies. But basically, these energies are in the chakras. So a way of getting rid of bad energy, getting healing. Another way of getting rid of bad energy is physically exercising. Another way of getting rid of bad energy is talking to a coach, a mentor, a therapist, a counselor, because you're transferring the negative thoughts and emotions that you're having to the other person. That's what you're paying them for. You're kind of indirectly using them as a psychic garbage can, which is not a problem. That's what they've signed up for. They're on board with that. That's why you're compensating them. You spill out all of your problems, worries, concerns, fears. They take it, and then when you walk away, you're like, I feel so much better. I feel so much lighter. I feel so much more joyful, right? True or not true? Okay. Same thing when clients come to see me, they dump on me, and that's okay. That's how it goes. That's what they are paying me for their permission to dump on me. What else? You can do meditation. Meditation is an excellent way of removing bad energy in the auric field and in the chakras. Which meditation would I recommend? The Twin Hearts meditation. It's practiced by millions of people around the world over the past 30 years. It's extremely powerful and it's extremely effective, and it takes 20 minutes to do. So you can get it online under Planetary Peace Meditation on iTunes or Google Play. iTunes or Google Play, Planetary Peace Meditation, or Twin Hearts Meditation. Either one. I would recommend the 20-minute version, which has a cover of the Earth and a white dove on it. That would be the one I would recommend, 20 minutes versus the 32 or 35-minute versions. They're powerful, but they might be too much for people in the beginning. So those would be some tools that you can use to get rid of bad energy. Another tool, salt baths. Salt baths. Fill up a tub with warm water, put in 2 pounds of salt. You could use solar salt, it's super cheap. You can buy a 40-pound bag for $6, $7. You put 15 drops of lavender oil in the salt, then throw the salt and the lavender oil in the water, mix it up, submerge your whole body for 20 minutes. That will also disconnect you and cleanse out your emotional, mental bodies. Another way of getting rid of bad energy. I hope that makes sense. So those are just some of the tools. But here's the thing. Here's the nugget. Here's the takeaway. If you do not practice the tools, you do not get the benefit. Does that make sense? So you have a home gym. The best equipment in the world. It costs you $20,000 to install the home gym. The best, elliptical, the best treadmill, the best stationary bicycle, the best. And you never get on it. You never pedal. You never move your legs. You never run. You never lift up the weights. You never do anything with the best equipment. Are you going to get the benefit that equipment promises? No. The promise of the Twin Hearts meditation is it will leave you feeling physically empowered, emotionally calm, mentally sharp, and spiritually fed. Those are the promises of the Twin Hearts meditation. But if you don't practice the Twin Hearts meditation, you won't derive the benefits of doing it. So you have to practice, you have to apply, you have to sit down and go, okay, I'm going to take 20 minutes and do this meditation because I want to get rid of this bad energy. I'm going to take a salt bath and soak in it for 20 minutes to get rid of this bad energy. I'm going to go for a run or a hike or hang out with friends. Falguni Atma Namaste to get rid of this bad energy. Falguni attended the 9-day spiritual vacation, and then she headed back. Actually, you're still on the East Coast. I think you're in Pennsylvania? Then you're heading back to India? Something like that. So, the point is, you have to practice in order to derive the benefits. And you don't practice 1 or 2 times and then call it quits. Hey, I did this Twin Hearts meditation and I'm not enlightened. I'm done. I did this Twin Hearts meditation and I'm not full of peace, love, and joy 24 hours a day. I'm done, right? You have to have realistic expectations, do the practice, get feedback, and go, I meditated for 20 minutes. Afterwards, I feel cool, calm, and collected. That experience of being cool, calm, and collected lasts for 6 hours. That's a really good investment return on energy. I put in 20 minutes, I get 6 hours of benefit. The more I practice the meditation, the deeper I go, the longer the effect. Interesting. Okay. And then you just go from there. How's the vacation going without you? It's not as spicy. I'm actually on your table is over there. I'm on the middle table right now. So we don't have your wares. That helped me a lot. Thank you so much. Yes, it makes sense. Perfect. Good, Darlene. Ashley's coming late to the party, bringing the heat. Welcome. My hair is super crazy today. What other questions, comments, clarifications would you guys like to ask while we are on the live stream? I'm not saying we can do the live stream every day because the internet is what it is, but if we have a break and we have internet, we're going to do the live stream. Make sense? Excellent. Maybe you guys can see. That is a very, very, very big picture of Master Choa. It's break time. Less than an hour left. All right, my beautiful souls, thank you so much for jumping on. Thank you for sharing your time and energy with the group. Thank you for asking your questions that other people will benefit from. You don't ask a question, we can't provide insight and value to you. So, share more teachings. More teachings. More teachings.
I really chopped the side. I gave him.
Okay. So this goes back to what Darlene was saying about bad energy. So we can remove bad energy through the different practices that we talked about. Salt baths, getting energy healing, doing the Twin Hearts meditation. But there's also something else we can do. Oh yeah, getting understanding why that bad energy is on us or within us, right? Understanding, we can transform. But another thing we can do is we can transmute. We can transmute lower negative energies. So what do I mean by that? Let's say you have anger, lots and lots and lots of anger, right? Unbelievable amounts of anger. If you can tap into gratitude, what that does is it transforms the anger from a low vibration gradually up to a more subtle, more refined vibration, where we can transmute into love, into sweetness, into tenderness, into joy, into bliss, right? So that's another way of dealing with bad energies, bad thoughts, or negative thoughts, negative feelings, is practicing gratitude of, okay, where can I be grateful in this situation? Why is this good? What am I learning right now? Okay, the anger means I need to forgive. Okay, why is forgiveness important? Because it allows me to let go of the pain. Okay, the pain I have towards the other person, the pain I have towards myself. Okay, what's happening? As I'm practicing more gratitude, as I'm practicing more forgiveness, my energy is starting to change. I'm starting to feel less anxious, less irritated, less angry. I'm starting to feel more inner peace, more happiness, more joy, more bliss, right? So the energy is changing. Energy is changing. So transmutation is extremely important. That is another way of getting rid of bad energy through transmutation. Transmuting something that's dense upwards to making it more subtle and more refined. Hope that makes sense, and I hope that was added some value to you of tapping into the deeper levels of the teachings. And when we say the teachings, true, these teachings are coming from Grandmaster Choa Koksui, Pranic Healing, or Hatha Yoga, but these teachings are universal. Truth is universal. Other schools, other schools, other religions, other spiritual practices call the same thing by different names. So don't get caught up with the language. Don't get caught up with the words. Look at where the language and the words are pointing to. Truth. Does it make sense? Perfect. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. Have a beautiful, phenomenal Thursday, week, life. This is ChristianRLong, Life Enhancement Consultant, and I will talk to you when I can get back on. Bye-bye. Talk to you guys later.